I am 74 years old, and my wife left me on a Tuesday in October. Not that the day of the week matters. I only remember it was a Tuesday because I had a project meeting that morning, and I remember being annoyed that she had chosen that particular day to finally say the words out loud. That tells you almost everything you need to know about me. Her name was Carol. We were married for 31 years. We raised 2 children in a house I still live in, and some mornings I walk past the kitchen and I can almost hear her moving around in there, the small sounds of someone starting their day. Then I remember. I'm not telling you this because I want sympathy. I'm telling you this because I spent most of my adult life convinced I was doing things right, and it turned out I was doing them wrong, in a way I didn't have the eyes to see until it was much too late. We met when I was 27. She was 24. I was working in civil engineering, long hours, ambitious in the way young men get when they're trying to prove something to themselves. Carol was patient with that from the beginning. Genuinely patient, not the kind of patient that hides resentment. She believed in what I was building. For a long time, that gave me permission to keep building it. When our first child was born, I took 4 days off work. I thought that was generous. I thought I was being a present father because I was in the house. I didn't understand yet that being in the house and being present are not the same thing. I wouldn't understand that for another 25 years. And by then, the damage was already done. I was not a neglectful man in the way people usually mean. I didn't drink. I wasn't cruel. I provided well. I came home most nights for dinner. I attended the school plays and the birthday parties. I did the things on the list, and I believed that doing the things on the list was the same as being there. Carol would try to talk to me in the evenings. I would be half listening, turning something over in my mind from work, nodding at the right moments. I thought I was being a good husband. I was present in body. I was somewhere else entirely. There were small signs over the years, moments where she said something and I could feel a distance in her voice that hadn't been there before. I noticed it the way you notice a draft in a room. You register it, you think someone should probably fix that, and then you go back to what you were doing. She stopped telling me things after a while. Not all at once. Gradually. She stopped sharing the smaller things, the details of her day, what she was worried about, what made her laugh. I didn't notice immediately. When I finally noticed, I told myself she was just tired, or going through a phase, or that we had simply settled into a comfortable quiet. I made explanations instead of asking questions. She tried. I want to be clear about that. She tried in the ways she knew how. She suggested weekend trips, and I would agree, and then find reasons to delay them. She asked if we could have dinner without the television on, and I said of course, and then I would turn it on out of habit 2 nights later. She would tell me she felt alone sometimes, and I would say I was right there. I was sitting 3 feet away from her. How could she feel alone? I said that more than once. I said that more than once. The children grew up and moved out. That's when the house got quiet in a different way. When the children are home, there is always something to organize, something to solve, someone who needs a ride or has a problem at school. Carol and I had spent 30 years being parents together, and we were good at that. We were a good team. But when the children left, we were suddenly just 2 people in a house, and I realized I didn't know how to be alone with her anymore. Or maybe I never had. She started spending time with her sister more. She joined a book group. She was building a life that had things in it besides me, and I thought that was healthy. I thought I was being a modern husband who respected his wife's independence. What I didn't understand was that she wasn't building those things because she wanted independence. She was building them because I had left her alone for so long that she had learned to stop waiting for me to show up. She told me she was unhappy about 2 years before she left. We were sitting at the kitchen table Sunday morning, and she said it quietly, not with anger, just with the flatness of someone stating a fact they've been carrying for a long time. I told her I understood. I told her things would be different. I meant it sincerely. Nothing changed. Not because I didn't care. I want to be honest about that. I cared. But caring about something and knowing how to change your behavior are not the same thing. And I had spent 50 years living inside my own head, treating the world around me as a backdrop to my own thoughts. And I did not know how to stop. I didn't even know that's what I was doing. I thought I was just a focused person. I thought that was a virtue. When she told me she was leaving, she didn't say it with anger or tears. She said it with a kind of exhaustion that was harder to watch than either of those things. She said she had spent 31 years feeling like a guest in her own marriage, and that she was too old now to keep waiting for something that was never going to come. I asked her what I had done wrong. She said, "That's the question you should have been asking for 30 years. I didn't argue with her. There was nothing to argue about. She was right about everything. She moved into a small apartment about 20 minutes away. We were civil. We had dinners with the children together on holidays, and we were polite to each other in the way that people are when something is over and they are trying to protect other people from the weight of it. She died 4 years after we divorced. A stroke. She was 67 years old. I went to her funeral and sat in the back. Her sister held my hand for a moment when it was over and didn't say anything, just held my hand. And that was more than I deserved. What I think about now, when I'm honest with myself, is not the big moments I missed. It's the small ones. The Tuesday evenings when she wanted to talk and I was distracted. The mornings when she was telling me something important and I was already somewhere else in my mind. The years I spent treating her patience as proof that everything was fine, instead of as a gift she was giving me that she would eventually need to stop giving. I thought presence was about location. I thought if I was in the house, if I was at the dinner table, if I was physically there, I was doing it. I had no idea that presence is actually about attention, about choosing, in ordinary moments, to put down whatever is in your head and just be with the person in front of you. Not performing, not managing, not solving, just being with them. I didn't know that, and by the time I understood it, she was already gone from the marriage, and then she was gone from everything. I have a lot of time now to think about these things. I live alone. My children visit when they can, and I'm grateful for that. I am genuinely grateful for it. But there are long stretches of silence in this house that are entirely of my own making. I'm not saying this to make you feel sorry for me. I'm saying it because you are probably younger than I am, and the people in your life are still there, and you still have ordinary evenings ahead of you that you might be taking for granted the same way I did. Not out of cruelty, just out of habit, just out of not understanding what ordinary evenings actually are, which is the only time you ever really have. If I could sit across from the man I was at 35, I wouldn't tell him to work less or be more romantic or say the right things. I would just say, put down whatever is in your head and look at the person across from you. Not because it's the right thing to do, because one day you will want to remember their face, and you'll realize you spent 30 years looking past it. That's all I have. That's the whole thing. I hope it means something to you while you still have time to do anything about it.